DanDaDan. DanDaDan. Okay, I think I already screwed up the timing. I've only actually listened to that OP like once. Grant's going to be upset when he hears this. As you may or may not know, I skip the intros in all shows, regardless of whether or not it has an amazing OP. And some of you will consider that sacrilege, and the rest of you don't know what I'm talking about. Hello, we're back. What is this, episode 132? We got some fun stuff. We're in the thick of it already. It's mid-October. Mocktober. Dragon Ball Daima. Episode 1, series premiere. We jump into that. We jump into My Hero Academia, season 7, and its finale. Shangri La Frontier season 2, we briefly touch on that since I didn't watch it, and then we can get into DanDaDan. Episode 1 and 2 are out. We talk about those. We talk about Uzumaki and the drama surrounding it. You can hear the cats, and you can bet I'm not re-recording this. Blue Lock season 2 and all of its PowerPoint glory. Bleach, 1,000 Year Blood War, part 3. Grant talks a bit about that before we discuss The Penguin and my lack of watching the last 2 episodes that have come out, but I'm going to get to it. And then we got news sprinkled throughout, okay? So you're welcome, and enjoy.
Psycho Season 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hey there, Grant.
Hello, David.
How you doing there, Governor?
I'm good. I'm full stuffed up with turkey and taters and
Oh my God.
pumpkin pie.
Let's get right into it here.
Real Thanksgiving? Yeah, it is real Thanksgiving. Sorry,
Turkey, overrated.
No.
Sorry, dude.
Fuck off.
Shitbird.
You are so off base right now. It's unreal.
What? Okay. Here it is.
Yeah.
What is turkey good at that chicken isn't better at?
You're
right. Conversation over.
No. It's such a. Oh my God, you're such a troll. No, it's perfect because you only need it twice a year, and you are happy, and you get a taste of it in October, real Thanksgiving. Sorry, America, and then in Christmas, it's just a 2 perfect little 3-month window. Maybe have some frozen leftovers in November.
Ugh.
Nah, dude.
Oh God, frozen turkey. That's the only thing maybe worse than fresh turkey.
No, dude. You were. I gotta say, I smoked turkey this weekend. Unreal.
Yeah.
Really took my confidence as
I'm glad to hear that.
as the man, one of the men in the family. I felt pretty good.
No, I mean, yeah, I won't rob you of that.
Yeah.
Smoking. You made us some smoked salmon recently. That was divine.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
Truly, really, really good. And I will say, I've seen a lot of bagels, like smoked salmon on bagels.
Yeah.
And when I see it, I'm usually a little worried because it looks a lot more raw than what you gave us.
Yeah.
I loved what you did to that thing. It was like perfection.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
That was
good.
wild.
Leanna was very happy to see some leftovers make it home.
Yeah, man, it was hella good.
Dove right into it. Zooming home for an hour.
Yeah. Maybe last thing I'll say on the turkey thing is just so much of it comes down to the gravy as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah,
but it still makes me think. Like, you take a great gravy and you put it on a chicken, and that's probably better. You know what I mean?
A hot chicken sandwich, yeah, like Soggy Bears.
God. We saw
with
one.
Soggy bread? Do you still eat Do you like gravy with the bread, or do you are you people that separate the two?
Like with relation to hot chicken sandwiches?
Yeah.
No, I would. Good question. No,
I saw a guy do that one
bite.
time, and I was gawking at him. I had never seen it before. I watched him with his hand brush the chicken off the bread.
Oh.
And then proceeded to dunk his. It was wild. I was like, it was just like a pile of chicken and gravy and peas on the one side.
Well, that's just no cake.
Hot bread. It was wild. I couldn't look away.
Who did this?
I was gonna say years ago. I was just at Soggy Bears, and the guy at the table over from us solo eating, and I was just gawking at him. I was like, couldn't look away. I was like, what's this guy doing?
Nothing wrong with eating solo, but the way he did it, that's what we're upset about.
Oh yeah, I love a solo meal. At a restaurant, pop in somewhere, in and out.
It's funny. We were driving home from that cottage, and we saw a St. Hubert on the way, and we were like, "Oh my God, when was the last time I you do that. And then our friend was like, every time I visit home, I go. I was like, what? What kind of an animal are you?
Really?
Yeah, he says he goes all the time.
Oh.
Isn't that weird behavior?
Yeah, that's like birthdays, maybe. And even that, it's so rare.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to the root of this and confirmed that turkeys suck. But
nah, well,
all right. All right. Speaking of shows that nobody asked for, did you watch Dragon Ball Daima?
I did.
No, I'm kidding. It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, well, I gotta say, I actually got a text from Bronson today of like, so you guys are talking about that on the pod tonight. I'm like, actually, I'm about to watch it, but big Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah, no, I joke.
I have a lot of questions for you.
I don't have a lot of the answers. I know what I saw in the pilot.
Okay, I think this is more like kind of like big picture and like more of the past, not like with plot going forward. I'm not too sure.
Gotcha.
So this is clearly takes place like within like a breath of like the Boo saga ending. Is my takeaway?
No, that's accurate. But there are some retcons that they've done, and it's weird.
Already,
like they've retconned stuff they've done in both Dragon Ball Z and in Super, and they just did Super like a couple of years ago. So it's clearly like an offshoot story. And then like you told me and I looked into it, like Toriyama was involved, so it's like, wait, so
this was his idea. I was reading, he had to pitch this to Toei. I was like, hey, I got this thing, let's do it. And they're
but it's weird though, right? Because the other thing, like, okay, I recognize we're a little all over the place here.
No, I think we're good.
But what I was gonna say is they did probably their best movie yet under Toriyama in Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Okay.
And everyone's complaint, I mean, not everybody's complaint, but one major complaint that the fan base has had for a long time is like a lot of the movies that they did, the Dragon Ball Z movies in particular, were never canon. They were like...
Which is a common anime thing, yeah.
But so many cool characters were in those movies, namely Broly. So when they did the Broly movie, it was an opportunity to be like, hey... Toriyama's like, oh, right, I was involved in character design, but then I never thought about him again, and now it's a good opportunity to revisit it. And they fixed a lot of issues with his character's motivation, personality. They made him an actual interesting character. Especially, so it's one of those rare instances where you visit a fan favorite decades later, and you actually make it better when you rewrite him.
Sure.
So, like, by all means, like, I would call that...
all wounds.
Yeah, total slam dunk. But it's interesting because the Dragon Ball GT has a very similar premise in that like a random villain uses the Dragon Balls to make Goku young.
Okay.
Like that's what Dragon Ball GT was, but it was not canon because Toriyama was not involved. So he has sort of like it's like he lifted this failed series idea, made it his own, and now we have Daima. And it's just very odd. Like, if I didn't know that GT existed, I think I'd be more excited. But I've seen a lot of GT, and a lot of it is like eerily similar to this pilot. At least as far as stories.
That's an interesting thing to look into. Okay, so that's question one. I do have quite a handful of things. I very much enjoyed the 30 minutes.
Same.
So strange.
Really good pilot.
32-minute pilot. Yeah. Like 7 minutes of like credits. And I was like, like, how did we not like fit this in? Like, and I just found it strange. Like, they made it longer, like literally just longer credits. But after having watched this, it was like it all kind of came flooded back to me because the last time I seriously sat down and watched Dragon Ball anything was, like a Saturday afternoon in my youth. It was like somewhere in the Cell saga or the Boo saga.
And they retconned Boo's death as well.
So I was gonna say there's like a lot of things I'm like, oh, okay, I remember that, and like in just like little snapshots of like Frieza and Cell, and I was like, oh, you know what, like I was like kind of like along for this, at least the Z journey, because like I was thinking about it, I was like, I watch this every single day after school for like 5 years. I'm sure I've seen most of it, if not like I'm sure a lot of reruns and all that. So it was kind of like, it's not like I get the badge of honor. I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm still like I'm a real Dragon Ball fan there, but I definitely have watched more than I kind of let on. So that was kind of cool to see that. But are the Saiyans not in the demon realm? That was one of my big questions. The Namekians were, but the Saiyans aren't. So like, how did the Namekians and the Saiyans first come to fight like eras ago? in the lore. Do you know that? Is that a question?
Yes and no. Okay, yeah, I get your question. It's kind of backwards. It's like, don't even think of the demon realm as... I don't think you are, but for you and for the audience, like if anyone's confused by this, like literally they do a really good job explaining the demon realm briefly in Dragon Ball Z, but really just think about it as the other side of the coin. It's not an alternate world. It's
an
not,
upside down situation.
Yeah, it's the upside down.
Okay.
So it's like anyone can technically go there, but you generally speaking do not, right? So
Sure.
like the Namekian that's there has been there apparently for 1,000+ years. We don't even know how he got there. We haven't seen any Saiyans there. So,
but they didn't. So this new king guy, he didn't seem to even know what a Saiyan was.
Yeah.
So is there like, are they just like not up to date on each other's lore and history? Clearly, because they're watching TV and they're watching events play out. So is the assumption that like they just like don't really know each other's history at all? Like they're that far apart technically?
That would be my assumption. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe these new bad guys are gonna know a lot about Earth and its coming and goings now that they've watched the recap video on YouTube.
I thought that was hilarious, by the way.
It is not a bad idea.
Forwarding and moving and like skipping. They did a really cool thing, and I don't know.
And
if
they reanimated a lot of those scenes.
They purposely like fast forwarded too much, and when they went back, they skipped over the part. Like they missed over stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, they don't have the full details, like, when they, they fucked off to Earth. I thought that was such a nice little touch of, like, oh, like, this guy is, like, an idiot. Which is, like, the humor of Dragon Ball. Like, I remember that much, but... okay, so, I guess what I'm trying to, like, piece together is maybe the Namekians in the Demon Realm are extinct or whatever, but, like, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they were. Maybe we'll learn more about it. It's weird that there only seems to be the one guy, and he's as old as hell. Maybe he was from... our, air quotes, reality, and somehow wound up in the demon realm, or maybe he was born there by, hard to say, but like, in general, I think one thing that's clear is also like there's just different races there, right? It's not all humanoids or all but if you're technically of the demon world, except pointy ears or whatever. So that's true, right? Like that, they've never really done the whole "it's about the ears" thing before. That, as far as I can tell, is new. I was like, what are they talking about?
I gotta say, having not like seen much Dragon Ball media over the years, Mr. Popo caught me off guard.
Same. The voice caught me off guard. I was curious if they switched. I haven't looked because I haven't.
Everyone. Well, I watched it in Japanese, not to be like
me too.
A dub naysayer. Is the dub even out? Or is it?
I don't think so.
And I've never liked Goku's voice in the original Japanese.
Oh, it really does grow on you, but you know that. It's like it's one of those things, right? It's the sub people are always going to say that.
It's one of those things like, when I think there's two properties that I think back to. When I think of a show, I can hear the English voices, and it's Full Metal and it's Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So it is so hard to like wrap my head around. Like, oh my god, Vegeta doesn't talk like that.
You know what my thing has been is going back and forth between the two, and we've talked about this, just mistranslations and like poor adaptations a lot of the time. Is I think I like the voice actor more for Goku, but I hate what they do to his dialogue in English.
Oh, interesting.
It's a major... major might be stretching it. I would say it's a significant difference in the way they translate it for his lines.
I dug it, dude. I dug it. Like I said, I'll probably... I got like a pretty heavy load this season, I think.
Oh my god, right? I don't even know what's happened.
But I think this will be one I'll catch in like maybe every 2 weeks. And then watch a couple episodes, like kind of that way. Like trying to stay week to week with this one, I think might be a little tough. But also, has it always looked this good, or is this just like a very exceptional? Like they're swinging with this one.
I was gonna say one thing we have to address is how good it looked, because one thing that I think I'm trying to think if there's any major exceptions, but I'm pretty sure every series that Dragon Ball has done has had notorious ups and downs with quality. I never really noticed it as a kid.
Sure.
But when I watched Super, I remember like it was like, it's like 3/4 of one of the arcs is just legit bad, like fan animation level bad. And it was to such an extent that I remember the community would look up which director was doing which episodes, being like, oh, don't worry, it's this guy, it's going to be a good one.
Gotcha.
Because it was just so unreliable episode to episode. So I'm super curious if they stay anywhere near this level, because like even the CG looked good. Everything they did in this episode looked fantastic.
Yeah, no, I was kind of shocked because I had remembered kind of like your anecdotes on the inconsistencies of Super.
Yeah.
And again, like rose-tinted glasses in our youth with the older stuff, but I don't know. They did this really. There'd be cuts to like the demon castle, and I'd just be like, "Holy cow!"
I
Like
know.
that's like that is beautiful. And then
The funny way they is also like there's also some good comedy, like the way they traverse from the demon world to the human world. Like you go through the big fish, you do the whole thing. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, and like even too of like, oh, like what universe. Okay, like what?
Right.
Okay, like what? And then break it
They
down.
addressed
Where
the multiverse, so that's because so that means like they're keeping some of Super.
Is this their way of like just trying to keep in all the movies as one?
It's weird because also my understanding is this is post Boo but pre Battle of the Gods, so there won't be any Beerus, there won't be any Whis.
Beerus is the cat guy.
Yeah, God of Destruction. So it's just weird.
Who's the dude with like the really big black eyes? That like Roy? He looks like Dave Bautista there. Who's that?
Oh my God, who on earth could you be?
Bald head, like big, like solid black eyes. I think he has like a red and black jumpsuit of some sort.
Not even nothing.
He has like I think like holes in his ears kind of thing. Who's that?
Oh, Jiren.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, he's like the one of the big foes towards the end of Super.
Oh, so he's the super villain. Okay, I wasn't sure where he fit in.
Not even necessarily a villain, but I don't want to spoil it.
Okay,
for you in case you ever get around to it.
I do have to say, like, I'm not trying to be down. Also, I thought it was really cool. This kind of dropped around the same time as that Sparking Zero game that like everyone was like losing their shit over the weekend.
3 million copies sold in 24 hours.
Good for them, dude. Like people are. I'm so happy. I just like seeing good anime games being made. So, it's getting me fired up. There's a Bleach game coming out soon. Kind of like an arena fighter, but it looks the previews like really really good. So I'm super jazzed for that. But we'll talk more about Bleach later. But I got to say, having watched this, I really enjoyed it. At no point did I ever feel like an urge to like, oh, I should go back and like check all that stuff out. Like there's something about, and it's not even the length and like the there's so many series and movies and this and that. Like, it's not even that. Like I'm watching One Piece for Christ's sake, but like. I don't know. I just something about like I think I'm just happy with this for now.
Yeah.
But there definitely was no pull, and I really was kind of hoping that I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like sucked right in. Yeah, we have like a full season there, and I imagine this is gonna be more than 12. I think this will get stretched out.
Yeah, I have no idea I'm very curious about pacing episodes. I'm curious about all of it. But we'll see.
Good pilot.
Yeah, great pilot. Speaking of ups and downs, let's just get My Hero out of the way here.
Ups and downs, really? Okay.
Okay. Well, we may actually disagree here. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts were on season 7, episodes 20 and 21. This is basically the like Sad Man Death Parade episode, and then the culmination of like the story between Himiko Toga and then like Ochako, and then there's also the All Might.
Unreal.
The All Might, All for One, like the young version of him fighting with All Might in the mech suit. How do you feel about
Loved it, honestly, dude. Like I'm not trying to like do any revisionist history here, but like and this was a good season. I think now that it's over, I think I can confidently say it was good.
Is it over?
It's done. That was the finale.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the stinger was like final season. See you next year.
Oh wow.
Like you saw like All for One v All Might in the mech suit.
Yeah. Oh no, that was yeah. Battle without a quirk.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was it.
Yeah, I thought
wild.
I thought it was an incredible way to end. Personally, no Deku whatsoever, which I thought was a choice, but I think they
I didn't realize it was a finale because I thought like we haven't like Deku's been in limbo for like 5 straight episodes.
So that answers our question, Dave. Like we were like, what is the ending? And the ending is probably going to be Midoriya and Shigaraki throwing down for 10 episodes, which I'm honestly okay with if they stick with that.
Right.
And just give us that screen time, and there's going to be other surrounding stuff and cuts here and cuts there. But like,
they did.
I kind of feel better going into the finale or the final season. But no, I did. I loved it. Like I thought these last 2 episodes were the absolute high points of the entire season. I had a lot of trepidation because like they've kind of been trickling Toga along all season, and over the years, like a lot as well. Like maybe like. I think Dobby maybe got like a little more of the screen time that like maybe Toga could have gotten.
Yeah.
you know, and it kind of felt like it was just like kind of like burst with her. And I could feel like, okay, the way they're going to wrap this up, I think I'm going to be unsatisfied, or this is going to be a little messy. And like, you know, like lore wise and kind of like yada yada, like, you know, I was bad, but I'm good. And like all that aside, it was a true spectacle of a final fight. The way, like the uniqueness of a non-violent quirk of Ochiko's versus like, you know, like just the kind of like the yin and yang of the two of them. And like the Sidemen Parade, because like the bombardment of mass and bodies and just kind of like her kind of, you know, the chain reaction effect, like her final move essentially, and kind of like putting the fight, I thought was beautiful, very incredibly well animated, considering that majority of those the Twice characters or the clones was all like CG or 3D, which you know can kind of get messy and ugly, and there was
very apparent,
very apparent, but like it all kind of, you know, kind of came together. And the creepy ass shot of like the, you know, the cutest girl in the world or whatever, like, you know, I take that or leave it.
There was an incredible frame of like the, you know, like the visual, like the artistic impression that they were going for.
But that's what I'm saying. Like all that stuff works. Like, again, like the actual meeting and like what is said. Like, you know, like I thought it did work for me. I can see why people are like, oh, it just kind of like, you know, but like the whole thing of like, you know, they set up how Twice saved Toga's life by creating a clone, and like, you know, she copying the clone and then transferring the blood, and like, you know, that was a callback to that moment. They even show it.
Of course,
no one remembers.
They have to.
And you know, like kind of like kind of sacrifice yourself for, you know, Uraraka and all that. But I thought I was just kind of like blown away, and then because I watched them back to back.
Yeah.
And dude, I was off the couch when All Might like threw down. I was like, this is the best the show's ever been, in my opinion. The way they can just the whole like the battle of the quirk thing, and just, you know, like really the call outs to the class 1A, how he like they changed him and how they inspired him, and all these years he's the one that inspired them and the whole world. It was like, honestly, dude, I was a little emotional. I was like, this is incredibly well packaged and created. And I thought it was an incredible send off. Like he's toast. Like,
yeah, I was gonna
next
say,
season, I think he's not gonna.
So I got who knows? Out in a blaze of glory here.
But he did. He went out in an absolute blaze, and I don't know, dude. I was like so in. I was so in. It was perfect, in my opinion.
There you
Considering
go.
Again, comparing the rest of the season is what it is. But this was like,
you felt that it ended on a high note.
I was like, it's not like they won me back. Like, it's not like I've hated on, you know, we've kind of punched down or whatever, but like we don't hate the show. And it was just like, these are the absolute moments of brilliance that it has shown us before and continue. Like, I like specifically the All Might versus you know, One for All, like the most recent one, final episode. That's on par in season 4 with Overhaul, Deku versus Overhaul.
Oh my god, yeah.
Which again, like just like the single shots of all the fists in the air, and you know, kind of coming down on Overhaul, and I don't know. I think it's one of the best episodes they ever made, personally.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're far apart.
Yeah, hit me with it. Tell me about it. How do you feel?
Okay, so like, yeah, I don't want to be hypercritical and be like, I disagree with everything you said. I hated it. I don't feel that way at all. I agree that the All for One stuff was the best part.
Sure.
And a good way to end it. But yeah, to your point, like I didn't even know it was a series finale. Or a season finale. I might have paid closer attention, and like, or looked at it a little more differently if I knew it was wrapping things up. But with that in mind, like I think they did a really good job of making All Might feel like he's in real danger, and like you made a good point about like the whole how full circle his whole story has come, the mech suit, all the tiebacks to all the students. Like I agree. I think I really really dug that. It's not that high up on like my favorite fights list as it is for you, but it's still great. I like it's still like it, because the story kind of started with these two characters. Yeah. So to see them throwing down like this is really cool. And like, yeah, to your point, like I think it sets him up maybe for kind of a cool death. We'll see. And when if and when he goes, I'll be legit bummed. Like they've done a really good job with that character overall.
And like I think there was a bit like there's definitely some nostalgia at play for me, because like the voice performance of his has been like so distinct and so strong and powerful, and he has been like, again, like because he's ill and he's hurt, he's been like his, you know, base self, or, you know, like starting form or whatever you want to call it, and he is shrunken, like he's not. And it was like to see him like big and bold, and like the moments of him like, oh, like I gotta put, like him like talking to himself the way he would talk to a student. To actually see like All Might like in a fight, like I feel like in season 3 when they had their previous fight, it was more like, it was less inner dialogue. It was more just kind of like throwing hands and like, oh, like I got to be mindful of everyone.
God,
to see him, it's such a good fight. But like to see him like catch the points of like, okay, I got him where I want him. I need to push this, and like throwing it all to the wind, knowing. And again, like I didn't love how like they have like his buddy was so quick to be like, oh yeah, like he's throwing his life away for 2 minutes. Like we can all put that together. He's doing this to give more minutes. And again, that's an animeism, and
not a lot of nuance in general, right? With especially My Hero, it's very on the nose. It's like if you don't remember, here's a flashback.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought like him like really trying to push those points, and he knows this guy. He's been fighting him the whole one for all mentality in history has been flying in the face of this villain. And I thought it was a good to a front end, but
hell
yeah.
No, I loved. I not as much as you, but I can't really criticize it too much. I genuinely enjoyed that. I think probably where we're further apart is I think that in these 2 episodes, because so much of it was so much of the airtime was dominated by the Toka and Ochako fight / confrontation, and the
one and a third. It was like a full episode, and then like, the opening of the. I was surprised they opened with that, but it makes sense. They wanted to close it out with All Might.
But if that doesn't land for you, then it's like 3/4 of these 2 episodes don't really land.
Yeah,
So if you're not a fan of that, you might not be a fan, and that's kind of where I'm at. I was never super engaged in the Toga character. I think it was like an interesting character that they were trying to do stuff with.
Yep. Her
relationship with Ochako, like, I hate to say this, I was fast forwarding through this shit. I was like, I in my notes, it just says they're monologuing. I literally don't care. Like, it was tough.
To your point with that, I'm like not even remotely invested. Like I thought that was such like grasping at straws a bit. I was more the presentation, like the fight itself. I thought was really I thought it was a smart way to take like 2 different types of like hero and villains, and whereas like then you get next episode you have all for one and All Might, and they're just smashing. It's just like fists on fists. It was but
all right, we got some stuff to cover. Let's move on. DanDaDan.
Alrighty, I'm curious to talk to you about this.
This is a big one. So this is a simulcasting on Netflix and on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
I think you told me, is this correct? Like, hey, like this is a big one. Maybe try and prioritize it. So, because the manga is big, right?
Yeah, it's like kind of like the between it and Chainsaw Man, DanDaDan, and Sakamoto Days are kind of like holding up the whole Shueisha Shonen Jump kind of spectacle right now.
So
like,
these are
the big ones,
the heavy hitters of today.
Yeah. Kind of like people, everyone's saying, like, oh, like, it was Jujutsu Kaisen's and My Hero's time for an extended period. Now it's like these guys. And I think that is genuinely the case.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely came out swinging. So I've seen both episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. I love episode 2 significantly more than I love episode 1. Pilots are hard. They had a lot to get out of the way. There's like some pretty creepy, like rapey scenes that I felt were a little gratuitous.
Very gratuitous and a little
it's probably in the manga, right? And what are they supposed to do?
Yeah. But like it reminds me in some of the way that like Chainsaw Man is done. Like there is like the not quite that gratuitous, but like there's the aspersions too, and the kind of like.
No, you're right though. Sexual content is definitely a part of that story.
But like
they execute.
They do execute, and I think like they definitely kind of go there, like they're really stressing the point, but like the timing of like the rescue and this and that, and I do like. I'm really glad they didn't play her off as like a damsel in distress. Like she is as strong, potentially more. Like we don't know yet.
Yeah.
For her, like the second she has the freedom, like she is coming out swinging too. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not just like a. It doesn't feel like a weird sexual power fantasy thing like some anime tries to do with this stuff.
Yeah,
like they are setting up the horror of it, and like it's not played as a joke and like titillating. Yeah, it's like I know like that's manga and anime to like a T. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, but I don't know. I just thought it was relatively. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah,
but it wasn't that either. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was really my only gripe, right? Like, the rest of it, it does feel like a slam dunk. I think the animation is gorgeous. The colors are wild.
For me,
vocal performances are great.
Vocal performances. Her voice. It's Tanjiro, and I don't know who I can't piece her.
Sam didn't believe me. I was like, that's Tanjiro.
Yeah, she is the total, like, stellar. Like, I was blown away by her vocal performance. Like, just the movement of the show. Like, you know, again, not to like go this, like, I was like, oh my god, Fooly Cooley. Like, just this is very Science Saru. Like, this reminds me of when I watched. They did Scott Pilgrim earlier this year or last year.
Right.
You know, like all like just. I believe they did like Odd Taxi as well. They kind of just like their usage of colors and kind of movement, and I was blown away. But Dave, for me, it was their chemistry right off the fucking bat. I was like, these two are going to fall in love, and they are about to become best friends. Like, it's immediate.
No,
it was
right.
like lightning. I was like blown away. I was like, I have never seen that in a show where right away I was like, these two are like ride or die right off the bat. I loved it. And like the way they open up to each other and they're already calling each other out. Again, like in the second episode, like they're not dragging that shit over 10 episodes.
Yeah.
She's like, you can't do that. Like, you can't push me out. Like, I'm, you know, I don't know. I thought it was exceptional. Truly exceptional.
No, I agree. This is like one of those, like, do we have something special on our hands kind of moments. Like, you know, I felt that way with the Elusive Samurai pilot. We've actually had a really good calendar year to date. It's going to be crazy when we have to do our top fives, but
I know. I did a preliminary list today, and it was tough.
It's a little daunting, yeah. But anyway, I feel that way. I feel like we have something special on our hands, and also just on like animation in general. I just think like the choices are wild. Like, they are doing really creative shit in these episodes. Like, there's like. They're doing, like, the camera move angle. They're doing manga panels on screen. There's good CG. There's good cuts. There's good needle drops. The actual quality of the animation is cool. Yeah. They do really creative shit, like everything black and white, and then just select red color. The way
I was watching this, I was like, oh my god, Dave's gonna fucking erupt on this one here. The way it slowly fades to black and white. Yeah. And, like, then you're just, like, in it, and she kind of... We know when she clicks into the fog. I was like, oh, that's a really nice
yeah, man. It's like, yeah, they just creative, innovative, like, cool shit. Like, this is what anime is supposed to be. You know what I mean? At its best, when you like want to show people like what's all the hubbub about, it's like you show them at one, like episode 2 of this was like, holy shit, that was a roller coaster.
What I love in the first episode, I loved when there's the part where they call each other and like. You know, like in something else where like we would just see that they're two different POVs and maybe they meet up later and they discuss, but like they're on the phone, we can hear them experiencing together and they're getting to know each other on the phone. Like it was like, you know, it was I just thought like it was just like a cute romance, like kind of, you know, those late nights on the phone, get to know each other and this and that. It was just, I thought it was just super well done. And then, you know, like her side, just like the visuals of like where he is and where she is, and like just contrasting and like the themes of the occult versus the aliens. And even in the second episode, they're like kind of giving little breadcrumbs of like, well, maybe they're the same, you know, like it's, I don't know, it's, but just really, really creepy. And Turbo Granny, I thought, unbelievable. Leanna was like, oh, do you know that's the same voice actor as Luffy? And I'm like, what? Huh? And so I rewatched both episodes yesterday. And I was like, oh my god, as if I missed that. That's clearly Luffy, like especially in that first tunnel scene. But just the way he pops out of the phone and like kind of like the digital, like they really cute like what might be aliens and what's the occult. There's kind of like some digital feedback and the way the kind of things are summoned and whatnot. But yeah, dude, it was. And this opening song by Creepy Nuts, dude, is the vibest vibe.
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
a vibe.
Yeah, I had that blasted in the car today. I was like,
of course you did.
Yeah, dude. Anime playlist for life.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is an every weeker for me. What do you know day of the week comes out?
I believe tomorrow. I think tomorrow.
Okay, so while people, the pod will be one episode behind perpetually, but that's just life sometimes. Okay, deal with it.
It's just the way it goes.
All right, what do you want to cover next?
So, when it comes to new shows, I know because we spoke earlier, you haven't checked out the season 2 opener of Shangri La Frontier. I highly recommend you do.
There's so much that I there's still stuff on my list here I haven't watched.
Yeah, I made a point. This weekend was like my clear up weekend. I got like, you know, before I could start anything new, I need to finish a couple shows. But no, Shangri La, you know, it's more or less like, you know, it's not like it's not reinventing the wheel from season 1 to season 2. But I think kind of my point earlier when we were speaking is like, they just open up with like almost I don't know, like 60% action. You know, they do like a little bit of talking, a little bit of bullshit in here and that, you know, kind of like getting into the gamified parts of the world. And then like when it comes down, like it was like A+ animation. I'm like, this show almost has like no business like looking this good. And I was blown away in the first season, and I remember they kind of held off a bit to really let go in that first season. It was like 1 or 2 episodes, so they really popped off. And to see it in the second episode just like ignite like that, I was like, this is sick.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get back because I gotta wrap up the end of season 1 for Shangri La, but it's tough because I really want to see this Uzumaki thing, and it's just hard to.
Dave, it's only 4 episodes.
I know, so it'll be gone before I know it, right?
Yeah. You see all the articles came out about that, kind of just throwing each other under the bus.
Well, yes and no. Like so do you want to talk about it now?
Yeah, we can jump into that.
So, I mean, I haven't seen the pilot yet, but like maybe we'll just briefly touch on the fact that my understanding is good first episode, gigantic quality drop episode 2. And then more drama ensues?
So yeah, I think it was a huge drop from 2nd to 3, and I think the even more unbelievable thing was the drop from 2 to 3.
Yikes.
Or sorry, 1 to 2 was bad, and then 2 to 3 is like, yikes, come on guys. Like, it wasn't great before. No, it was just, it's a lot of like, I think like the ending point was like, screw American production studios. Because that's what I think like the Japan side is like blaming things on. Of like, this is why like we do things over here, because that was the thing. It was American produced, but it was Japanese like animators.
And hasn't this been in
this was
progress
announced
for 5 years?
This was announced 5 years ago, and it was like coming imminently. This is like almost done, and then it got delayed by 5 years, which is like crazy to me. Like, I know.
And it launches ugly, like or badly with controversy. Like, what?
You know, and then like a producer or director, he had the whole thing. It was like, yeah, like we were given options, and like you know whatever he said, he was like, it was either one good episode and it looks like shit, or not at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, so we went with that. People can like see, you know, shitty work, and I'm like, ooh, like fun, like.
It's kind of the sunk cost fallacy, right? It's like, what do you do after so long? Maybe they were trying to figure it out, you know, behind the scenes, knowing that they had no more money to invest.
Yeah.
I don't know, but...
this is the second Adult Swim associated production that, like, just took a real nosedive in quality. It was that Ninja Kamui.
Oh, man, yeah, that was unbelievable. That first episode, so gorgeous.
You know, it was the director of season 1, or the fight animation producer from Jujutsu Kaisen season 1. Like, there's all these... You know, it's, like, not for the lack of talent. It's just, you know, it's just... probably time allocation and money. Like, no, you gotta stop working on this, you gotta do that thing. Like, that's my whole take with it. Like, if they had 5 years, it can't just be that they just, you know, continued to make it work on something bad for 5 years. There was probably huge chunks of time where like no one was allowed to touch it, or
probably sat exactly.
Yeah. So it's,
you know what else is getting torn apart?
What's that?
Is Blue Lock season 2 is getting annihilated.
Really? Have you started it yet?
Yeah, I love it. Like, I fucking love that show. And first episode is like a bit of a, like, it's more of a season setup, so
like, you know, a recap or whatever.
Yeah. Kind of hard to notice if anything looks ultra terrible, but you get your first match in episode 2, and yeah, I remember thinking, like, it's funny, right, with the internet. Sometimes you're totally in sync, and other times you're like, you know, I was a little lukewarm on it. Basically, my take on episode 2 was like, wow, there's a lot of frames in this, like animated frames. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Where they take a manga panel and then they add like action lines to the top and bottom.
Okay, gotcha.
And I was like, there's like a lot more of this than I thought. Like, this is kind of weird. And then they do a lot, and I mean a lot, of what you would call like After Effects. Okay. It's like, you know, again, it's a manga panel of like someone kicking a ball with action lines, and then they add like fire to it to make it, but again, the frame isn't moving, right? Like, it's just a lot of prettied up frames. And then I started seeing people clown on it. Like, there's literally at one point, Grant, there's a PowerPoint transition, like where it's like they, you know, you turn the page. Yeah, there's one of those in there.
Oh, okay, that was the meme I saw this week. I saw a couple memes goofing on it, and I was like, I don't understand the context of this.
Yeah, so from what I understand, and this is based off this, like, what we know so far in the story as well, there's a really big game coming up, so people are assuming maybe they're saving the animation for that, but like,
if not,
my guess is like, yeah, but that game seems pretty far away, like really far away. So like, does this mean we're just sacrificing like a big chunk of the season?
Well,
Yeah, I
was
don't
Blue
know.
Lock last year?
A year or two ago. I don't know. Good question. I don't know.
Huh. That's interesting.
Let's see. Blue Lock season 1 air date. 2022 October. So yeah, 2 full years.
So they probably well,
Yeah, from October to March.
makes you think what they're doing over at UFO Table.
Yeah, very weird, man. Like, because season one,
no one
reliable.
studio's the same, right? Like, it's,
No.
talent is, spread
We have
out
learned
all
this
across
much.
the board. But, damn, it's a bummer. I know you like that one.
I love it. So yeah, like we'll have to see how it goes, but yeah, TBD. What else? Anything else on your list?
Last thing of like the new shows is the part 3 to the 1,000-Year Blood War, Bleach.
Oh yeah, and
Oh, dude, it is so good.
yeah,
It's funny because like I never watched Bleach back in the day, but I last year or the year before I read the full manga, and was like immediately fell in love. I was like, oh, this is like such an amazing story, and it's like I can't believe I wasn't there for it at the time, and then like I think I had started reading it because I knew there was this famous last arc, which is like a lot of the fandom was like, oh, like unfinished, like like the Kubo wasn't happy with it, the manga wasn't happy with it, and there's like some details and like kind of there was some like verbal retconning after like the series ended or whatever, and when they said they were coming back to like animate it, I was like, oh, okay, this is the perfect time. I've always had this curiosity of Bleach, and I fell in love with the manga.
yeah.
The first two parts were awesome, amazing, really dug it, and they literally swung out like. We're like the first 2 episodes of this part are borderline season finale fights, like right out the gate, and it's just like I'm just eating, like like I hear a Bankai on screen, I just like melt. I'm like, oh my god, like I fucking love this shit. I got Rory fucking saying Bankai at the dinner table.
Oh, let's go, dude.
Yeah, that's gonna backfire at school, I'm sure, one day.
Oh, 100%.
But like, I don't know, dude. I really like it. It's super good. The animation is so
clips
slick.
I see are gorgeous.
Oh,
it looks
dude,
really cool.
Like just like the style and tone they chose for this arc, like I don't like old Bleach did not look like this. Like this is like very, and there was like a couple, there was like a hint a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of like as per usual internet fandoms ran with it, but there is like a rumbling that there might be like a remake situation.
Oh.
Like this style of like the animation, it's still the original studio making it from back in the day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so Studio Pierrot, I think it's French sounding. It's the same studio that did Naruto.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. It's so cool, and I love the world and the power system. Like we always talk like whether it's Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero and all these other shows, the power system just gets so convoluted. It's just with Bleach, like from beginning to end, everything was so clear cut. They introduce something new. It doesn't overrule a previous thing. Like it just, it just kind of adds. It doesn't kind of, remix or anything like that. It just, continues to get bigger and bigger without bloating itself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just, I really dig it. And yeah, I will. My goal now is like go back and watch the old stuff and to see like some of my favorite moments. Not watch do a full series watch or anything like that. But yeah, Bleach is fucking sick, dude. Like everyone's dripped out. Like just the way they use music and editing, and it's very hip hop, in a lot of weird ways, and just there's so much like Hispanic influence, like in a lot of the characters and the arcs, and just their outfits. They're so out there. Like the mangaka Kubo like wanted to be in fashion. That was like his thing. So like he just kind of like manga was like his outlet, and like. In the manga itself, in the panels, like between each chapter, it was just like his take on the gang, like completely like fashioned out in like all different styles and over like it's so good, dude. Like if there was but if there was ever like a hardcover book, like a coffee table book of all the inner panels of like them in like various styles and whatnot, like I would get that. It's so cool.
Put it on the Christmas list.
Yeah, now I gotta research, see if it's out there. But
I still want that hardcover of the Full Metal Alchemist ones.
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist.
No, they have a coffee table book of like character designs and stuff like full color. Very neat.
Leanna's reading her new manga. She's really digging it.
Oh,
She
yeah, you
hasn't.
told me about yeah, because
Yeah.
she put out a new one, right?
Yeah, Demons or Demons of the Shadow Realm. And it's like she's like yeah, it just looks like Full Metal. Like she
That's
has a
awesome.
style clearly, but
Yeah.
she's really digging it. It's a bummer because like the volume releases are like spread out by like 5-6 months.
Oh
each.
wow, that much.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
hope that lady never has to work again. As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah, I agree.
As far as I'm concerned, she completed a masterpiece and one of the
Yeah.
better stories that we've seen in that medium. But
Yes, sir.
wow, yeah, that's wild, dude. I was gonna say, I want to briefly mention. I have a feeling you haven't seen any of it yet, but the Rings of Power did have its finale.
Oh shit! No, I haven't seen it yet.
So that's done, and I mean, there's been a little bit of news that has broken since.
Oh yeah, I
To
did see that
recap,
actually.
I mean, on the positive side, 70 million people have seen it, and they have no intention of not doing any more. Right? They've like said publicly like it'll probably take about 5 seasons, but they also have not publicly said we're gonna do all 5. Their like PR response has been like, as long as people keep watching it in droves, we'll keep making it.
And people in droves are watching. So
Exactly. But they did fire the whole writers' room, other than the showrunners. In general, I think I've told you, I've said it on this podcast plenty, but like this show and its fan base is just pure uranium. Like, it's unbelievable. It has 5 different subreddits dedicated to it because they're all varying levels of toxicity. I did find one that like is quite big and is mostly positive, but yeah, it's I think I'm not gonna go too far into it, but yeah, like it's book readers don't like it, everybody else relatively happy.
the problem, I think, the one unique problem. I'm sure some people would argue with me and say like, no, this is all fandoms, like from novel to TV or film adaptations, but I think there's just something about Lord of the Rings and like it's such like an inception for all media and all like for all the stuff we're enjoying today. Like without Lord of the Rings, like it shaped everything, right?
It did.
It's hard to compare, and I think it's so coveted and so people have so much ownership over it more than anything, in my opinion. It's so hard. Like there's no winning whatsoever. Like I really like like I don't know, but
Yeah, it's
it's about like, so for you, like, did you think it's a writing problem? Like for me, like it was visual. I was like, oh, like I don't dig like what I'm seeing.
right.
Like I felt like it felt a little like I don't know, like
Yeah.
like great value version of like
Sure.
like what Peter Jackson did. Like it was a little too whimsical for me, but
Um.
the world is whimsical. I don't know, like it's hard to make everyone happy. Like the writing to me
is.
wasn't like the worst thing about it.
Okay, so I think my conclusions, like I have a few. The look was not my problem with it.
Okay.
Overall, I want to say this, like on the record, I definitely enjoyed it. Sam enjoyed it. We will absolutely be watching more. At the same time, there were moments and scenes in every episode where I said we probably didn't need that. And I want to like be as honest as I can. Like I genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah.
In like particular, Charlie Vickers, who plays Sauron, and Charles Edwards, who plays Celebrimbor, have by far and away the absolute best performance of the season. They make it like this is like Sauron's show almost. Like that guy
That's interesting.
does such an. In particular, they get a good amount of work together this season, and they.
Oh yeah, duh, Celebrimbor. Yeah, he's the ringmaker.
Yeah, dude, they like best of the show. Remember, I think we talked a little bit about Galadriel and her performance in season 1 was like the high note.
Yeah.
By far and above, they are head and shoulders above everybody else on screen. Like they annihilate this show. I wouldn't be surprised if Charlie Vickers sees an Emmy nomination. Like it was that good.
Really? And that's
Yeah.
Sauron, you mean?
As Sauron, yeah.
Because he was my gripe with the first season. Like I thought until the reveal happened, I thought like again, like it caught by surprise, whatever you want to call it. But like I enjoyed him. And then, like, the heel turn, I was like, oh, this is, like, so fucking cartoonish. Like,
I know.
Is it still that or
not? I think they gained a bit of freedom by getting out of their own way, right? As soon as you don't have to play cat and mouse with the audience on is he or is he not.
Sure.
And you're just like, okay, it's the bad guy. What's he doing? Let's watch him do bad guy stuff. This season goes way deeper into like what makes him the deceiver. Yeah. Like, so now that the audience knows he's Sauron, he's infinitely more interesting.
And remind me, was his reveal, was that like a I lost my memory thing, or was he deceiving the whole time? I can't remember.
He was deceiving the whole time.
Okay,
this one, yeah.
Okay,
and
so
then
that makes me curious.
It was maybe, like if you do check it out, maybe watch like a 2-minute recap or something. But yeah, he kind of manipulates Galadriel and really everybody throughout season 1.
Yeah.
And then that continues throughout season 2. But
dude, I'm gonna watch the first.
Dude, I really
tonight.
enjoyed it
tonight. I'm doing it tonight.
And what I'll also say, but okay, so as far as the problems go, it does. They probably could have cut 20% of the season, and I'm not kidding. Like 20% probably didn't need to be there. Like everyone's gonna have favorite plots and least favorite plots.
Sure.
I don't want to like taint your outlook going in, but I definitely.
I think last pod you had alluded to like what you didn't like the first.
Yeah, but like, Sam and I, there are like a couple plots every time a couple people showed up. It's like we don't need this. Like this isn't doing anything for the show, and that remains. But yeah, I don't know, man. The guy.
Is it like a lot of stuff that like they're setting up season 3 stuff, or was it like this is just. Oh, okay.
I don't, but I could be wrong, right? Like, who knows exactly what they have planned. There's also, like, a couple key things that are definitely in spoiler territory that I won't mention that, like, I remember the moment I saw certain things happen on screen, I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to piss off people who read the book. It probably will. So, like, they are playing at times with, like, the lore they have access to. But I don't know, man. Overall, it kind of, for me... became about the core conflict, right? It's Sauron versus everybody, sure. And we know how this ends, and I want to know how he gets there. And like I just really honed in on that. The rings make everything more interesting, right? Like the show is actually moving at a bit of a clip now.
Okay.
Like little things like the Hobbit related stuff and the Gandalf related stuff, or not Gandalf, but the Stranger stuff, like that kind of. Because
Freudian slip.
No, but even then, like it's that there's still like controversy there. But it like that slows the show down, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way.
Yeah.
But yeah, some plots don't go as far as you want. Some move a little too fast. I don't know. It's definitely not perfect, but like I liked it. You know what I mean? It's a 7. I enjoyed it.
It's a 7. I like that.
I think it's a good 7, and I think like. Yeah, these people, at the same time, I'm that fickle fan who told you, like, I'm not watching the Hobbit movies, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If you watch this and you go, you know what, dude, it's just not my jam, like, I won't blame you at all because I'm Exhibit A. Like, Lord of the Rings fans are just fickle and opinionated. So I also, like, you made a really good point about, like, the Peter Jackson trilogy, like, really is kind of sacred to a lot of people.
Yeah. It's like
anyway.
It's like talking to people that grew up in the 70s with the original Star Wars, or the 70s and 80s with Star Wars. Like it's literally the same thing.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's been anything since to kind of like take that mantle. Did you? I guess quickly because we're coming up on the end there. But did you check out the next episode of Penguin?
No, so I think Sam, she let me down easy, but she's like, listen, I just don't think I want to watch that. I was like, so okay, I have to find a way to. I got Grant with that.
That is fucking funny.
I think she was just like, listen, like, it's just so dark. And I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And as you know, like living in a household, like finding time for a 1-hour dark drama on your own is actually kind of tricky. But I'm committed to making it work because I'm really interested in Batman 2. I really like Colin Farrell and who he's playing opposite. Is it? Is it Sophia?
Yeah. Krista?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that goes. So I'm just gonna have to find time.
I gotta say, she is. So far in these episodes we've seen, like the 3 that you've seen, she is a powerhouse. She's an incredible actress. I did not know the range she had. In general, in the first 3, like I knew her as like that Palm Springs movie, and then How I Met Your Mother. This next the next episode, I was like, whoa, like you should not be doing TV. Like you should be doing movies, like exclusively.
Yeah, it's funny.
Not that there's nothing wrong to TV. You know what I mean? It was like a movie star performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that is the vibe her character introduction gave you in the first episode, and I remember being like, I'm so curious because she got like that bit part in like the Wolf of Wall Street movie. she had like an important.
Fuck, I forgot about that too.
She had an important but not altogether major part in that How I Met Your Mother series, which at the time was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm just remember being like, where'd she go after that? And it's this part seems to work, so I really want to see more of that. But so I swear I will watch it. You've enjoyed the last couple episodes?
Yeah, loved it. It. Yeah, I thought like we had talked about it last time. Like, I'm just kind of blown away with. I guess we haven't talked about episode 3 then either.
Because, 2 or 3 because I haven't seen them.
Oh, you haven't seen them?
No.
Oh, you've only seen the pilot?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
I gotta catch
I thought
up.
it was the most recent one.
No, 2 or 3. I've tried twice, and then Sam's like, "All right, listen, you're just going to take the L here. I'm not watching that." I was like, all right.
I was singing the gospel of Penguin over Thanksgiving to like anyone that I could talk to about it, and it's just such an unassuming, like you think you're getting one thing, and then like after the second episode, you're like, holy shit, like this is genuinely just trying to be what it wants to be.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, and but Dave, it's funny. I've been legitimately running into this problem where I have to rewind scenes because I block out what's being said and I'm just staring at him trying to find Colin Farrell and I can't.
That's
and it's like, I missed all that whole dialogue in that scene. And I got to go back because like I just get so transfixed of like I know he's in there. I can hear him sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's the makeup work is exceptional. Like they have that in the bag for the Emmys. As far as I'm concerned.
That seems probably like a W.
Because they won it for the Oscar, did they not?
Ooh.
Maybe no. I think Greg Fraser won for the cinematography.
The Batman was that 2021 or 2022?
I think that might have been 22.
Nominee. I'm sure this is great listening, but
click.
Don't you want to know? Nomination 22. 3 noms, no wins.
No wins. What a great.
But makeup, hairstyling, best sound, and best achievement in visual effects. But no dubs keys. But yeah, we'll see, man. God, that was such a good movie. I rewatched The Killer the other day. Just falling asleep. Not David Fincher.
Yeah.
God, Michael Fassbender, man.
He is the best.
So good.
I think I need to rewatch that one actually.
It's such a fun movie. It made me think like, man, I wonder if this movie would have annihilated if like the John Wick series hadn't happened, or if maybe would this movie even exist without John Wick happening?
No, because like.
There's a lot of similarities. Now, clearly, very different movies. Right?
But, like, the whole point of The Killer is, like, he sets himself up to be, like, this, like, true machine. And, like, but he's, like, a fucking loser. And, like, I don't know. It's just but, like, it's played up to the point where, like, he's not. Like, he's so on and this and that. And he has these rules. And, like, he's, like, fumbles the bag nonstop. But, I don't know. David Fincher movies in theaters just don't do well anymore, unfortunately.
No, this wasn't even in theaters, was it?
No, it's a Netflix collaboration.
Yeah, what are you gonna
do? I think it was the deal. You do The Killer, we'll let you do Mank. I think was sorry. If you do Mindhunter, we'll give you something. And he did Mank and The Killer.
Right, and then he never finished Mindhunter.
And no one was like openly like, I'm not doing that.
I don't want to. Oh, okay. I'm glad you set up 2 unbelievably good seasons of television to not complete it. The most David Fincher thing ever, actually. You're aware he like recorded a full podcast with Marin and then left, and then the day later was like, don't release that.
Oh, I did not know that actually.
Yeah, it's like that happened like 10 years ago.
Oh,
but it's this joke Marin goes back to every now and again about like, hey, maybe you'll hear it one day along with the unreleased David Fincher podcast.
10 years ago, what?
I don't know, but it was several years. I'll say that.
I was gonna say if it's 10 years, it's gonna be a fun experiment to figure out what movie he was there to talk about.
Yeah.
But okay, so do you got anything left, Dave?
No, I mean, I got random news. Like, one thing we haven't actually talked about and I'm sure it'll come up in subsequent episodes, is we haven't talked about Joker 2, but I'm not going to see it, so...
No, you don't want to just go C to C?
Okay, when I say I'm not going to see it... No, yeah, hear me out. When I say I'm not going to see it, it's not like, I've decided. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It's not that at all. It's more that there's so much I need to watch...
I'm not gonna run to like this known bad thing.
Yeah, like, and it's not like I care so much about the reviews that have let them like taint it. It's just like The vibe I get is like it's not must see, and I feel like I have must see TV on my list. Like I'm looking at Uzumaki, not done. 2 episodes of The Penguin, not done. Shangri La Frontier, you know what I mean? Like there's all this shit I got to do. I just don't know if I'm running to confirm whether or not Todd Phillips shit the bed on yet another sequel.
Very interesting Variety or Deadline article that I urge people to read. Very, very interesting read.
The one we talked, we shared,
the one we were talking about.
Very interesting.
Random weird beef thrown in with Bradley Cooper at one point. I was like, oh, that's
very
fucking
peculiar.
out of nowhere. But well, instead of watching Joker Folie à Deux, I would recommend not immediately, but before the season 3 comes out, I need you to watch Oshinoko.
No.
Yeah, dude, you have to. you actually have to. I was watching, I was behind by the last 4 episodes of the season. It was wrapped up, and because it's on High Dive. What a fucking awful anime service. Yeah. Like, it does not fucking work. The apps always constantly crash. It doesn't sync up. Like, the audio is always off. It just pisses me off because, I love the show so much. I just want, when you're sitting down for one of the most, things you're looking forward to the most, genuinely, and it just doesn't fucking work, and it's all in your control. And it's because, no, just in the finale, I was like, oh my god, this is such a Dave show. It's incredible. They just continue to loop you back in. Every episode always finds a way to hook you. In a similar way, and I'm not baiting you here, but you know how Attack on Titan just would always have just a little bit of a hook at the end. Just
God, season 1 especially. I remember they were so good for that.
Oshinoko is every single episode from season 1 and 2. It's just giving you a little bit more
great little hook
for the next one to keep you thinking to the next one. You're there, and then you think you get it together, and then it hits you with the next one, and then boom, season 3. We'll see you next year. So,
interesting.
But incredible season. I just like what they do, kind of going over that, social media and performance arts, and just the CD, kind of just the behind the scenes stuff. I really, really dug it. But
yeah, all right. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll take a look. Maybe I'll see if I can get Sam to sit down for the pilot. I can't remember if we did already or not. But
I block out 90 minutes. It's an hour and a half. But
oh my god,
it's a movie. But that's the thing.
That's why you said instead of the Joker. I see.
Yeah, so it's
all right. Well,
good stuff.
I'm sure that'll be easy to pitch.
I think Sam I think Sam might enjoy it.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where you got to give her the up. You know what? If you hate this 30 minutes in, we could just call it. And if I like it, I'll keep watching it. And maybe that's how you do it.
Yeah.
God. All right. Next time we get back here, Grant, we're going to talk about Diablo, Vessel of Hatred.
Yeah, dude.
And dude, I might be done reading Berserk by then too, and we're gonna have to start discussing what we want to do on the pod.
Get our camera angles ready.
Oh boy, I've fallen down that rabbit hole. I think I had nightmares about it last night, which is awesome.
I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah, dude. Berserk content coming soon, but I think we might need to get the volume 2 of that thing on order if they're back ordered.
We should.
More to be discussed. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube, feel free to go ahead and do that now. And if you want to keep up with all of our comings and goings, follow us on Instagram at Part-Time Otaku Podcast, or on the TikTok. That's right. We do the talk of ticks for street youths. Share it with your friends. Have them listen, subscribe, etc. Grant, go ahead. Say the thing.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.